Thank you, everyone. I look forward to seeing you at the reception. But first, I really want to begin the annual meeting part of our program by saying what a rewarding year it's been to be president of the BSA. I want to share some of our accomplishments in 2024, the calendar year 2024. And before I do so, allow me to thank the BSA Council, the BSA officers, Megan Pizer, Megan Constantinou, and Patrick Olson, and Executive Director Aaron McGurl for helping me lead this organization from our last annual meeting to this one. When I use the pronoun we in the rest of my comments, it's to this collective of leadership that I point. So, look, the most notable initiative we undertook this year is the one whose fruits were enjoyed in the morning session and indeed throughout the day. We expanded the annual meeting agenda to include a pre-lunch program consisting of 3 concurrent sessions and a pop-up exhibition, which will, by the way, has already been set up, but will also have a sort of live component at 5. Putting this program together entailed the events planning subcommittee fashioning and running an open call for proposals for sessions that would model new ways of teaching bibliography and doing book work. I thank Clara Drummond, chair of that committee, for helping make the program possible. And along with this edition, we opened up lunch to all registered participants so that members could meet the new scholars and celebrate their achievements before their presentations. What a great lunch that was, by the way. The most people I've seen during the lunch hour, and it's important, as all academics know, to get you fed. Okay, it keeps the mind going, and it prevents you from getting hangry, which academics are known to do. So this was easily the best lunch event ever, and we're going to be continuing to do this because that's an investment in you all, and I think it was a wonderful way to talk to each other during the proceedings. The PBSA brown bag only reinforces the pipeline that we hope to create for our junior colleagues, and that too was an important part of today's event. Now, these changes, I hope, help build a sense of community among our membership beyond the keynote and business meeting. And it's not without precedent either. After a research trip to the BSA archives held at the Grolier Club, Aaron alerted me to the fact that previous BSA meetings did have a morning session, as you can see in this program from 1956. Now, while it's true that the morning session usually was scheduled during the summer meeting, I think making it a part of the annual meeting today, the only time we get together as a diverse, far-flung membership, is a way of bringing an old practice back in order to point the way forward. Another initiative we've taken on this year is to activate the community of the Margaret B. Stillwell Legacy Society. Founded in 2020, the Stillwell Society focuses on long-term giving to the BSA, which is another way of saying paying forward the rewards of bibliographical study to the next generation of scholars. Last April, Scott Clemens, longtime member and former treasurer of the BSA, delivered a lecture to the Stillwell Society at the New York Society Library titled The Constellation of Bibliophily. The event, which also featured a dialogue between Scott and Megan Constantinou, went so well that Aaron and I thought it would be nice to print the talk as a pamphlet so as to commemorate the occasion and highlight the love for printed objects at the heart of Scott's comments. With production help from Jesse Erickson and Mark Samuels-Lassner, we were able to publish The Constellation of Bibliophily in a limited edition with the Ascensius Press, helmed by Scott Weil. Today's meeting doubles as a book launch. Aaron, would you hold up my copy? This is actually really quite beautiful. And I'm pleased to recognize Stillwell Society members in attendance who will receive a copy after the meeting. Scott Clemens, the author, Mary Crawford, Liz Denlinger, Joan Friedman, Mark Samuel Slassner, Aaron McGurl, John McQuillan, Alice Schreier, Barbara Shaler, Ken Soner. There's no minimum financial requirement for joining the Stillwell Society, and all members of the BSA are eligible to join. Please see me or Aaron after the meeting if you too would like to own your own copy of the Constellation of Bibliophilia as a prospective Stillwell Society member. So I've also spent this past year reviewing the equity action plan that my predecessor, Barbara Shaler, had set up to make the BSA an even more inclusive organization. Counselor Jose Guerrero has been especially helpful in steering the committee in charge of evaluating our program 5 years on. I'm happy to say that in every action I've taken as president and in every council meeting over which I've presided, inclusivity in all forms has been a priority for ensuring access to our programs, events, and fellowship opportunities. Part of this strategy has entailed reimagining our online presence. With our fresh webpage template and dynamic social media branding, we're primed to reach more diverse bookish communities than ever, and our 3 new scholars prove this point. They really got the word out to their own networks and communities. And I want to thank the Pine Tree Foundation for generously funding the development and design of these products. Finally, a year in review would not be complete without mentioning member-driven initiatives that have sustained the work we do in small but meaningful ways. Our liaison to the International Online Booksellers Association, Douglas Nelson, who many of you know, funded 10 memberships for emerging bibliographers under the age of 35, expanding our ranks while drawing people in. And a library and information sciences professor from Florida, Kathleen de la Peña McCook, took it upon herself to create a Wikipedia page of the BSA's presidential history, having consulted issues of PBSA to reconstruct that history. These are just some of the ways that everyday activities by our members have bolstered the work that we do as an organization. As I look to the year ahead, I envision continuity along these lines with even more opportunities for engagement and community building. Thank you very much.
Why do you be like that? Yakoke Kinohi, it's been a joy working with you and the whole executive committee this year. I learned so much from you all in every meeting, and your innovation and care of BSA bring me a lot of hope. And halito to all of you BSA relatives. It's lovely to be here with you today. This is my second term as vice president of BSA, and in this work I get to liaise with our passionate committee chairs as they lead all of the initiatives that make BSA what it is today. The events you attend, the awards we give out, the stable auditing of our funds, the organizations we liaise with, the members that we reach out to, all of this is made possible by our committees. And if you do any of that work, I want to say, I see you. I see you getting up early. I see you making time. I see you sending emails. I see you reaching out, and I see you being a real person doing this real work. I want to begin with a big thank you this year to former president and outgoing nominations committee chair, Caroline Duracell-Mellish, who organized the leadership slate you all voted on last year, and this year's nominations for council class of 2028, which hopefully you all voted on. And we are welcoming Liz Ott into the position of nominations committee chair for this coming term, who I know with her long commitment to BSA will ensure that we welcome new leadership to various areas of the society. And we will be doing so in ways that support our central pillars, our commitment to an accepting and diverse bibliosphere. This year, I want to extend special thanks to our membership committee for all their work helping to organize the expanded meeting that we are enjoying today, especially Jasmine Sykes-Kunk and Kelly Bullard for hosting the orientation session. Something that you are not seeing in our annual meeting this year is announcement of fellowship recipients. That is because our wonderful fellowship committee has shifted their labor calendar to better align with the working calendars of our members so that more folks can be applying to these fantastic fellowships. So thank you to the fellowship committee for seeing this gap in best serving our members and working to find a new path forward so that we can celebrate their accomplishments. If this is your first BSA meeting, or if you're new to BSA, please be on the lookout for folks with green ribbons on their name tags. Those green ribbon folks are a person currently serving on a committee, and they will not only make you welcome, but they will answer any questions you have about getting involved. Yeah, I just put all of you to work at the mixer. You're welcome. If you're interested in getting involved, chatting with these leaders is a great way to learn more about what that looks like for BSA, where we try to do our work with compassionate accountability, acknowledging that we're real people doing real work in this world out there in 2025. Doing this work, showing up repeatedly, making space for lifting up, documenting, and stewarding items of textuality is a radical act of care every day, but especially now. And coming together like this in this work is a radical act of care. And I'm grateful to share this space with so many of you. I want to take a minute to especially thank our executive director, Erin McGurl, whose radical care, thank you. Erin's radical care for the society humbles me daily. She faces the challenge of thoughtfully steering us forward, keeping this ship steady while managing the traditions that we all value. She regularly listens to the many voices and finds a balance in ensuring that BSA reflects its membership, past, present, and future. Countless achievements that we have celebrated today have passed over her desk or were guided by her almost entirely. So thank you, Erin, for being the leader that you are and for helping me to be the kind of leader that I want to be for setting up BSA for stability and success.
Hey, everyone. I'm very pleased to be here as my first year as your secretary. Membership in the society, as of today, let me give you the slide, that would help. So these are the numbers as of today. Number 112 emerging members, 291 partner members, 79 sustaining members, 18 leadership members, 10 advancing members, 2 Latin American resident memberships, 61 lifetime members, and 7 honorary members. I'd also like to take a moment to gently remind you to renew if you have not already, and please remember that we do offer gift memberships. So if you know of an aspiring bibliographer or book historian or collector who might enjoy being part of our community, please do consider that. And I'd like to conclude by honoring our members who have passed away. This year we lost Tammy L. Clemens, Roland Folter, and we just learned of the death of Roger E. Stoddard, our honorary member. If we can take a few moments to remember them, a moment of silence. Thank you.
Hello, everyone. I'm Patrick Olson. I'm wrapping up my first year as BSA treasurer following long-time service by Scott Clemens. I hope you're enjoying your seat from the audience today, or wherever you are. I want to thank Scott for leaving the organization in such sound financial condition. I want to thank Aaron, who handles, along with our hired bookkeepers, a lot of the day-to-day financials, transactions. We have an investments committee who very carefully stewards our endowment. Thank you very much. And we have an audit committee who ensures that our books, pass muster. So thank you very much. So I am just one part of a much larger body that sort of handles the finances. So I want to thank Scott again. He did such a fine job in years past with his slides. I just copied them, though I did update the numbers. I promise. So this year you can see as far as where our money comes from, $331,000 and $881. We take a large chunk from contributions and grants, which you can see, 40%. So thanks to all of you who have donated, for our sponsors of the annual meeting. All of this is you. So thanks. As you can see, it's a huge chunk of what keeps us going. So please keep it up. You'll see member dues is just really a fraction of what keeps this organization running. So please do renew if you haven't already. And when you can give, we love that. Just a little bit comes in from publications, and you'll see the largest chunk comes from our endowment. So that endowment also comes from your donations. So thanks again for keeping that going. So how is that money used? As you can see here, the biggest chunk goes to our programming. And even, so it's like things like today, the smaller meetings that we help support around the country. It goes to sort of administration, management, so, running our payroll, and things like that. And fundraising. So we want to keep that fundraising sliver pretty small. We don't want too much of our money going to raising more money. So the lowest we can keep that, the better. But I think the takeaway here is that every dollar we spend, whether directly, indirectly, goes to supporting programming, fellowships, all of the work we do that sort of fosters and supports the bibliographical work that all of you do. So thank you very much. And perhaps the most important piece, if you want sort of a snapshot of the financial health of the organization, is the balance sheet. You can see here on the right our last year's numbers. On the left are this year's numbers. Assets up top, so those are the things of value that we have. Liabilities at bottom, things we owe, generally not much. Those of you who are comparing the endowment fund from last year to this year, if you've done your math, you'll see it's about a 21% increase. Which is substantial. No one is, I think, expecting a repeat of that this year. And we are, keeping an eye on the market, and we want to adjust our budget, as things may look less certain. We have a budgeted draw this year that will keep us under 5%, and we've dropped the plan for the draws is actually a little bit lower than that. So we're keeping an eye on it, and we'll adjust as we need to. And with that, I'll pass it along to the next. Next.
Everybody else is taller than I am. After fiscal year 2023's full audit, for fiscal year 2024, which ended September 30th, 2024, the BSA was scheduled for a less intensive, and cheaper, by the way, review process. Work on the review began shortly after the end of our fiscal year and was completed by early January. By all accounts, this work was accomplished with efficiency and good coordination among BSA staff, the bookkeeping accountants of the charity CFO, and the staff of our auditors, Dermody, Burke, and Brown, with partner Shannon Nelson in charge. Please be sure to thank Erin McGurl for our ongoing work on rationalizing our bookkeeping. This type of work is not always congenial for those of us who would rather be carrying on the work of supporting bibliography, but it is essential for that support. And I'm grateful to Aaron for keeping it all in good order. The Audit Committee met last week with Shannon Nelson from DB&B and Angie Bayless from the Charity CFO for a presentation of their reports, including the financial statements, which Patrick has just summarized for us, and IRS Form 990, which you'll be very glad to know I am not going to show you. They reported that no adjustments affecting the bottom line were required. This means that all the financial information flowing throughout the year was accurate and suitable for decision-making during the year. Patrick has already summarized for you many of the findings that they reported to us. One further one that I would mention is our test of public support, which is one of the things we report to the IRS on the 990 form, shows that 69.4% of our funding came from public support, the remainder from investment earnings. And that's well in excess of the 33.33% benchmark that if we went below, then government organizations might be getting worried about us. And that's 5% higher than last year. So we're doing well with our sources of support. The committee is now working with DB&B to finalize these reports and effecting the required filings with the IRS and the state of New York. My thanks to the members of the committee, many of whom are here, Patrick Olson, Elizabeth Ott, Mark Samuels-Lasner, and Ken Soner, whom I think is here too. Yes, there he is, okay. And then also to Shannon Nelson of Dermody, Burke & Brown, and to Angie Bayless of the Charity CFO, and most especially to Aaron McGurl. Thank you.
All right, great. Hi, I'm Laura Waswitz, and I am the chair of the Justin Schiller Prize Committee. We are thrilled to announce the winners for the 2025 Justin G. Schiller Prize for the Best Bibliographic Study of Pre-1951 Children's Literature. The prize committee, consisting of scholars and curators working in the field of historical children's literature, selected the following works from a robust pool of applicants. The winner of the 2025 Justin G. Schiller Prize is Elizabeth Massa Hoyam's The Education of Things, Mechanical Literacy in British Children's Literature, 1762 to 1860, and it's published by University of Massachusetts Press, 2024. Hoyam's study provides an excellent in-depth analysis of the technology texts written for children and youth in Britain during the Industrial Revolution. Using children's print culture in the form of books, object lesson kits, and pedagogical ephemera like wall posters, Hoyam deftly charts the development of mechanical learning texts across classes, from child factory workers in Lancasterian monitorial schools to wealthy children engaging in experiments using material found in their well-appointed mansions. Hoyam puts texts by British middle-class didactic writers like Maria Edgeworth and Isaac Taylor in conversation with working-class advocates including George Moody and William Hill. The Education of Things breaks new ground in our understanding of the relationships between academic scientific theory, practical technical knowledge, class, and gender in the rising British Empire. Its publication comes at a time of heated debate over the appropriate role of technological education in current school curriculums. The 2025 Justin Schiller Honorable Mention goes to Eric Lamore's scholarly edition of Abigail Field Mott's The Life and Adventures of Alaudo Equiano, published by West Virginia University Press in 2023. The committee commends Lamore on his detailed bibliographic study of Quaker writer Abigail Field Mott's 1829 adaptation of Equiano's autobiography for the students at the New York African Free School. Mott's text is printed in facsimile with extensive notes by Lamore about the book's typography, composition, historical context, and the ways Mott adapted and changed Equiano's original text for the use of African American school children. This edited text is accompanied by a series of appendices, including a path-breaking essay by Lamore placing Mott's adapted text within the context of early Black Atlantic studies. And so the Schiller Prize jury is extremely pleased by the number of high-quality submissions received this cycle, reflecting ongoing interest in the use of historical children's literature as the focus of bibliographic study. And now we will have some recorded remarks by the 2025 Schiller Prize winner, Elizabeth Massa Hoyam.
I'm sorry I can't be with you today. This prize means a good deal to me, and I thank all of you at the Bibliographical Society of America for your support. I want to say something briefly about what I hope my book will accomplish. My book makes the case that playful learning became popular in wealthier families, in part because this kind of learning imitated, in a safe home or institutional environment, the way many children learned for centuries by working alongside adults. Play is imaginative and liberating, but its benefits were not extended equally to all children. That's why I include in my book the perspectives of radical educators who taught working class youth through play and women who wrote science and technology books for girls. Thank you so much for valuing this research. It is not easy to convince people that factual books can be interesting and imaginative. I sincerely hope that scholars will be inspired to include more information literature alongside fiction in their research. Thank you.
Hi, I am Sarah Werner. I'm the editor. Oops. Wow, I'm usually mic'd down. Exciting. Hi, I'm Sarah Werner. I am taller than usual today, and I am the editor of PBSA. I'm starting my 4th year this year of editing the journal. It's been a real privilege. I want to quickly introduce some of the other members of the team. Jonathan Sunshin is our new associate editor. Jonathan joined PBSA in July when Jesse Erickson's term ended, and it's been a delight having Jonathan as part of the team. And Dylan Lewis is our managing editor. Among Dylan's many responsibilities, which he does fabulously, includes coordinating book reviews. So if you are somebody who's interested in reviews who might have already been in communication with Dylan, we have a list of books that are available, QR codes that you can scroll. We love getting reviews, and Dylan can answer all sorts of questions about that. If you need to reach us, the easiest thing to remember is you can reach any of us at pbsa@bibsogamer.org. I also want to thank publicly the members of our advisory board who are a key part of enabling PBSA to do what it does. We rely on these folks for advice about finding readers, thoughts about improving the journal in general. Some of you might be in the room, to which I say thank you so much. We really do appreciate the work that you do for us. The last group that I want to say thank you to, but I cannot acknowledge their names publicly, are the folks who do our peer review. If you are a scholar who has published in peer-reviewed journals, you know that the peer review process is really significant to improving your own work, keeping the journal's work credible, and it is thanks to those anonymous people to whom Jonathan and I really rely on for helping us understand and navigate the journal. So really quickly look back at this last year. We just completed the full year. Those of you who have been members should have all 4 of these gorgeously illustrated covers in your possession. If you don't, there might be a couple still left on the table. We brought some back issues in the last couple of years. Any of those old issues of PBSA are yours to take. Please take them. They're all full of really good stuff. A couple of just quick comments I want to make about this past year. We published a total of 47 pieces. That includes articles, bibliographical notes, reflections on bibliographical work, and reviews. 47 is more than we have published in the last couple of years, so we're really excited to see the amount that we can publish grow up. It's actually in part thanks to the redesign from a couple of years ago, just literally gave us more space in the journal. And I specifically want to call out our June. We had a special issue that was on queer bibliography that has been really a big hit. And the issue was guest edited by Malcolm Noble and Sarah Pike, and Malcolm is here, so I want to say thank you, Malcolm, for all the work that you did on that issue. It's been really great. I've been hearing lots of feedback, and I'm already seeing it reproduce and spread in really exciting ways in the field. To move things, look at what's ahead, I'm going to let Jonathan, I'm going to say one other thing while we're looking at those covers. You guys know about the journal. You're members of BSA. You should be getting it in the mail. But perhaps you have colleagues or students or, I don't know, maybe even your next door neighbor who might be doing bibliographical research that would be appropriate for the journal. We now have little pretty posters on the front. Information about how to contact us and what we do. Please take some. They're also out there. And then please spread them throughout the community so that we can get lots of exciting submissions.
Okay, hello, thank you. As Sarah said, I'm Jonathan Senshin. I'm the new associate editor of PBSA. I started in July. I also want to thank Jesse Erickson, who was the co-editor through mid-year. And I owe him a debt of, thank you, yes, right, Jesse. I owe Jesse and Sarah and Dylan also a great debt for onboarding me into the process, and Jesse particularly for taking me through the internecine hallways of editorial manager, which is our content management system for the journal. So thank you very much. How do I? Where is the? Did you take the thing? PressNet, got it. Okay, great. There we go. And I am here to reveal our next issue cover and also say something about the theme. You'll note from looking at you'll note from looking at the last run of Volume 118 that we have a theme every year. This year, I'm very happy to say, we'll be exploring binding through through 4 images that we carefully and joyfully selected to explore binding through a number of geographic, linguistic, cultural, and material traditions. So we'll be looking forward to that. And you may also see some waste paper along the way. But this will be the first issue of 119, and we also have a new color overlay every year, and this year will be lavender. So I'm not quite sure if that's the title the designers would give it, but I think it's a beautiful lavender, and so it's a beautiful year forthcoming. Please look for these in your mailboxes and enjoy. Here is a little bit of coming attractions about some of the excellent scholarship that you will encounter in the journal this year, covering issues like forensic bibliography, Robinson Crusoe portrait frontispieces, the dance typewriter, a closer look at the making of the Barlow Aesop, the Leipzig editions of Milton, and a note on the Quarto chapbooks in the English Don Bellianis, and much more. That is only what we can tell you about right now. There's a lot in the pipeline, and again, please take those quarter cards, and if you're at a conference or you hear a graduate student give a great talk, please hand those quarter cards over and say, hey, PBSA is a place for your work. We take pride in taking very good care of scholars and their work while they're with us, whether it is an accept right away or ultimately, a reject. We will take good care of the work along the way, and so you can tell them that too. Thank you.
Well, I'm one of the short ones. My name is Leslie Morris. I am reporting on behalf of Caroline Durisell-Mellish, who is the chair of the Nominating Committee this year, but she is, very fortunately for her, on sabbatical and could not be here. The other members of the committee were Heather Cole, Adam Hooks, myself, and Nick Wilding. And we were helped in our deliberations by the officers of the Society and, of course, Executive Director Erin McGurl. BSA relies on its members for all of the implementing its mission. And the Nominating Committee wants especially to thank those people who took the time to make nominations or who nominated themselves. If you did nominate yourself and you were not successful this year, please do try again. We do really appreciate people responding to the call for nominations. So I know I'm standing between you and the reception, I think. So the slate for council, the council class of 2028, Douglas Nelson of Nelson Rare Books, Heather O'Donnell of Honey and Wax Booksellers, and for a second term, Rebecca Romney of Type Punch Matrix, and Karen Wolf, the San Domingo Director and Librarian of the John Carter Brown Library at Brown University. And the results of the election are, there's a slide to go up. I'm sorry, what do I press? Okay, good. All right, the slate is elected. For those people who disagreed with the selections of the nominating committee, let me encourage you to please volunteer for the nominating committee next year, where you will have more input. Thanks very much.
Okay, hi. I'm actually standing between you and the reception, so there's going to be some audience participation in mine just to get the blood flowing. So I'm going to start by just saying good evening. Yeah, good. Thank you so much for being here today. I want you to do some hand raising, so just get ready. If this is your first time at the BSA annual meeting, can you raise your hand and keep it up for a minute? Yes, welcome. Okay, so if this is your first time at our meeting and you are seeing folks you've met online or you've met at other professional events in the past, can you raise your hand? Okay, so this is a way people are connecting with each other, right? That's what I want everyone to observe. And I'm going to continue. If you've been to the BSA meeting for 2 to 5 years, can you raise your hand? That means yeah, okay, sorry. I should have written this better. I'm a little tired. If you've been to the BSA meeting for 5 years or more. Okay. 10 years or more? Great. I could keep going. But again, the reception, so I'm going to move on, but not before I recognize 2 people who have exceptionally stellar records of attending the BSA annual meeting, and that is Terry Bellinger, who attended for the first time in 1972, and his student, Joan Friedman, who arrived shortly thereafter in 1975. So can I get a round of applause? And, my point with the hand raising is that we are all here because we care about bibliography and we care about connecting with each other. This is exactly what we were thinking about on the council when we created the Society's strategic pillars in 2023. BSA as a space of connection and community that is more important than ever. And we want to continue to invest in creating meaningful experiences that bring us closer together. So all of that hand raising is really just to show you all that you are here to be together, to be with your friends, to talk to people you care about, and we want to keep doing that and doing more of it. And we set it as a priority. And you can see that in the annual report, which if you haven't gotten in the mail, there are lots of copies outside. You can pick one up. But we do have to pay for the experiences, and if you've received an email from me, some of you talking about money, I usually include a link to this song because it's great, and I'm going to talk about Filthy Lucre. That's my tribute to a great song. So this is what Convene charges us to be here today, $33,000, whoa. And as you know, this meeting is free for everyone to attend. We do ask you to make a contribution to help cover the costs of your attendance. And so many of you do that. So many of you do that, that we actually, oh, sorry. And I also want to break down what that covers. So most of what we're spending is on actual bodies in the room, right? So that blue thing is just you being in this room, that's what it costs. The tech support, the folks that are here making sure the mics work, making sure the slides change, that's the red. And then the overhead, which nobody sees except for me and my amazing assistant, all the communication that happens with their staff before this day, that's the yellow. So how do we pay for it? We raised 93% of the cost of this meeting through sponsorships and donations with registration. So thank you so much to all of you for your support. And that means that, yes, we are using endowed funds to cover the difference, but $2,000 is less than a cost of a fellowship, right? You know, we're really not dipping into the endowment in a meaningful way to pay for this event, even though it's in this really glossy, fancy venue with the coffee and the espresso machine and the snacks all day that we love, because we are human beings, right? And we need to eat. And we want to eat when you need to eat. So that's why we come here. And I want to take a minute. On the back of your programs is a list of our session sponsors, those individuals, libraries, organizations that have shown up to sponsor the morning sessions, to sponsor the orientation, sponsoring the reception. We obviously do right by each other in BSA. And I want to give a special shout out also to the Folio sponsors and the Quarto sponsors. And when you look at this list, lots of you are in this room. Thank you, thank you. I'm trying to make eye contact. Yes, yes. And one of the awesome things I think about this year is we have some new sponsors, right? The Modern Language Association, SHARP, NYU Special Collections, and there's another institution, the Virginia Fox Stern Center for the History of the Book in the Renaissance. I mean, it really shows the diversity of this organization and the ways that we support each other, not just from the book trade, but also from libraries that see the value in telling this audience about who they are. So thank you for making this possible. And so now I'm going to ask you for more money. Hopefully all of this good feeling today is making you feel like you want to see this continue to happen. So if you want to make a contribution because you didn't donate with your registration, you can do that using PayPal. You can scan the QR near the tote bags, which will be in the reception. You can buy a tote bag. They look so beautiful. Some people in this room have them. They're really cool. And also, I'm going to echo all of the things that my colleagues said about becoming a member telling your friends, buying gift memberships, etc. And also encouraging your institution to subscribe to PBSA if they don't already. The money that we get from the University of Chicago Press is really important to our bottom line. Even though it's only 5%, every little bit means something in this organization. So institutional subscriptions help us keep our publisher happy and help them continue to take on all of the administrative work of actually getting the journal into your mailbox. So that is it from me. Thank you all so much for listening to my my spiel. I should have just played Wilbur Harrison singing "I Gotta Have Some Money," but I can't actually do that. So I will call Kanohi back to the stage for an adjournment.
Thank you, Erin. We've all learned it, so I officially call this meeting adjourned. Let's grab a drink in the reception. Thank you, everyone. Have a great year ahead.